Hey everybody, welcome to Culture Keepers episode 13. We got a special guest today. We're excited to introduce Alden Blaize on the team, and we're excited to tear you up today.
Sweet.
Looking forward to it. But before we move on, remember, hit the like, share, subscribe button. Kayla will put it down there for us. So it's been a little bit since we've done one, so a lot of practice, I think.
Out of practice, so, it's okay. Yeah. It's okay. It's been a good season. So Alden, part of Culture Keepers, if you watch some episodes and stuff, we kind of go through stories and what was were there any things culturally that you thought are fantastic, or that you went backwards with, or we're just brutally honest on how things have affected you, your family, our working relationship, all that kind of stuff? And Cormac's always got some great questions, so he'll hammer you as well. So start with your story. Well,
sure.
Coming to see us.
Yeah, so let's see. About 5 years ago, then I was kind of in a bit of a lull, I guess you could say. I had a good job in sales, doing coffee sales and working for Montana Coffee Traders. It was a great job, and I decided to branch out on my own and do my own thing with a retail, like a little espresso stand, and I had a partner at that time. But it was a little bit of an ill-fated journey, I'd say, and then that left me kind of scrambling to provide for my family, and so I was working. I was kind of hustling a little bit, working jobs where I was delivering beer and wine and working as a bartender and just kind of looking for something.
Serving happy to everybody.
Yeah, I was. No, it was. I liked both of the jobs. The delivery job was pretty taxing on my body, and honestly, the bartending job, looking back on it, was a little taxing on my mental state, to be honest. So at that time though, I was really getting into just ways that I could better myself, and also financially kind of be in a better position with my family. I've got 3 kids, and so I started kind of getting more into the idea of being self-employed, and since I had done it a little bit with my business, even though that wasn't the best route that I would have taken back then, but I educated myself a little bit more and kind of learned more about money and finances. And then I'd always been fascinated with real estate. Bought a house 15 years ago, and just always kind of loved the economics of it, and then how a lot of people make a living doing involved in the real estate transactions. So I started looking at being a realtor, and an opportunity came up. I think I'm not sure if I saw it on Facebook or online somehow, where Performance Real Estate was hiring, and it was a conditional offer, and I was kind of, at that point, I was sort of on track to become an agent anyway, so I was going to do all the studying and stuff like that, and so called you up, and from there, that was the start of it. Of course, I've got a long story before that, but that was what kind of spurred me into changing my career, let's say, and finding something a little bit different. And so that was 4 years ago is when I started, and it's been an interesting journey, but very, very, very fulfilling, and it's also surpassed my expectations, kind of what I would think when I started out 4 years ago. So
tell us a little bit more about that. So if it surpasses your expectations, mentally, spiritually, making people happy, making yourself happy, making your family happy, monetarily, what tell me more about that?
Yeah, I'd say all of the above, to be honest. First of all, the work environment here is it's different. It's very unique, but it brings a certain level of comfort, I think, to me, that I've never had in another job. Just knowing that that you've got my back, but so does everybody on the team. And that's something where that's a comfort level that really enables me to do my job well, and also to prioritize everything in a way that's important to me. And what that means is that you've always been, or the culture here is all about, it's sort of this professional and personal hybrid, that it took a little bit for me to get used to. But,
it did.
Yeah.
Which is good. Yeah, we broke you. We took us a while.
So your story is definitely different than some of the other stories that have come on here. I think pretty much everyone that's come on here knew Mark before they came. So this is really different. When did you know that it was different than any of the other past jobs that you had?
Yeah, well, first of all, the whole process to be hired, you know, it was like a conditional. You know, I still needed to get my license at that point, and so you know the onus was on me to make that happen, right? And so when I did, you know, like, okay, I'm jumping full on into this, and you know, I arrived at the office. This is kind of a story we like to tell a lot, where I arrived at the office and things were a little bit different than the whole leading up to that point, you know, because a lot of the people that had interviewed me weren't there anymore, and so I knew it was different then, but it took me a couple months to really get comfortable with it and to say, yeah, this is different in a good way, you know, because the first couple of months, like I really wasn't sure, you know, I'm jumping into this, you know, commission only kind of this pay arrangement, which is something new. That was something new for me, and so I needed to be convinced. I needed to, you know, get some time sitting at the desk and doing the things that this job entails, and to get familiar with that, you know, before I really knew that it was going to work. And it just took a couple of months, but then I knew it. But from the start, even the first conversation like I had with you, I remember being struck by your sort of positivity and like, you know, here I am talking to you for the first time, and you're really encouraging and really positive is what I remember the most about that. And so in that moment, I knew that you would be a much different boss than anybody I'd ever had, because you know, my previous employers, you know, either were indifferent or negative, or, you know, I didn't talk to them very much. And so that was refreshing, you know, from the start, knowing that you really cared, and then that was going to be to have that be the basis for the job. It took a little bit for me to realize that, but once I did, yeah, it was. Then I knew I wasn't going to go anywhere, and this was going to be a great job for me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's actually different too than the others that we've talked to, because you were here almost from the beginning of the rebuilding, which we talked about on Marcy's episode. So you've seen the company go from what you started to what it is now. Was there anything in there that, well, you talked about it being at first like, I don't know about this, but was there like a time there where you're like, oh, this is going to go somewhere? And did you ever envision it would be what it is now?
No, and I think it's interesting too, because like I started in, you know, the fall of 19, and then got some traction, and I think I was starting to enjoy it and everything, but then COVID hit, and then suddenly there was this big just like uncertainty over everything, not just real estate, but just life in general. And so like at that point I was like, oh man, how is this going to go? I think everybody was kind of having that same feeling.
Sure.
But after a month or two, when I realized that it was actually going to be, you know, what COVID did was really strengthen everybody's sense of home, especially in a place like this. You know, so then I'm like, well, this is actually going to work out well, because here we are in the business of helping people find homes, and it's like they were coming, you know, and that's
sure.
that had always been the case, but then COVID sort of intensified that a little bit. So then I would say then, you know, shortly after COVID went on, and the uncertainty was replaced by, okay, this is actually happening, and I'm going to get really busy now, and it's time to focus on that. So that's, I would say during that time, so maybe like 6 months into me working here, was when I'm like, yeah, this is going to be something really good, and really something that I'm going to enjoy and be good at. And so that, I would say that's the time, right around, late spring, you know, right after COVID, so maybe April, May of 2020.
Was there anything team related too going on at that time that struck you that you knew that it was going to be different as well?
Well, yeah, and back then it was, you know, we were a lot smaller, because, you know, like I say, when I started off, and then a lot of the agents that had interviewed me and been part of that process were gone. So suddenly, like, I'm like, wow, I've been here, and then even one of the supervising brokers left, and so then I'm you know, I'm
one of the senior people.
One of the senior people, having been here, you know, 3 or 4 months, and so, and then, but then, you know, at that time, you know, with Kara was there, and Mark, of course, and I knew that the core that was there was gonna push through, right, and you know, and maybe we're gonna add people. Like during the summer of 2020, there was like only 3 buyers agents, right, and so I'm like, yeah, you know, we need more people, right, so I'm really happy in the way that that's progressed, because then, you know, you came back, and Kyle and Tim, and the people that have been added then, you know, I think that would be agreed upon that they are much better fit for the culture that is, you know, you're trying to portray here, right? So that's been great. And so, yeah, but back then it was a little bit, you know, it was a much smaller team, and we're just like, let's there was this togetherness too, because we're like, let's get through this. Let's see what we can do just with who we've got here. And that mentality of helping each other out and covering each other was still there back then. It just was with fewer people.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what have you personally done that you don't think you would have done without the support and whatever? I know you got some that I'm trying to lead into because I already know some of the things that you've done that you're like, I'm proud of you for some of the things you've done. So most people don't do those things. Can you kind of elaborate on a little bit there?
Well, thanks for saying that. And part of it was during my sort of my self-education, I guess. Like when I bought my house 15 years ago, I was kind of I know that real estate is a good investment. Long term. I mean, I bought that house because we're going to live in it, and we still do. But then during sort of before I started working here, like part of my realization was just the way that investments work and how real estate as an investment really is a great way to sort of build yourself up and provide for your family for the future, right? Not just for now, but like for the future, even after when I'm gone, right? So we converted our basement into a nice little apartment, and then we've purchased 2 houses in the last year and a half, really, and so now we're running those as rentals. And but we've got great tenants in there. We've got a great relationship with them, and we're trying to do it right. We're trying to make it to where we benefit from it, but we also provide a really cool place to live for people. And and then we also sort of have my wife and I started a property management company this year as well, where we're doing like short-term rentals in the summer mostly, where we'll do changeovers and the cleanings and stuff and the management and stuff like that. So she'll handle quite a bit of that, because I'm pretty busy in the summer. But that's added to our sort of we've got a lot of irons in the fire, let's say, with my job here being a big part of that still, but we also have these other things that are, are beneficial and positive in a lot of ways and sort of helping us to get where we want to go. So
she was very skeptical with you getting into real estate, and I know there was a turning point for her too. That's been really cool to watch and proud to watch too.
Yeah, it's understandable because I was jumping into a commission only kind of a arrangement. I kept my bartending job, for about a year after I started here, because there wasn't that certainty yet. But and then so as far as the investments go, she wasn't even on board with me changing jobs yet. So it took her a while, but now she's totally on board with everything that we're doing, and we're still looking at other opportunities as well. The turning point, I'm not sure when that actually happened. I think it slowly kind of happened over time, but she was pretty convinced by about a year into it, just because I was successful with real estate and doing the job here, and so I think that she kind of felt at ease at that point. Because even like I mentioned, the first few months I was a little bit uneasy too, because I'm like, I don't want to have to go back to just full-time bartending and hoping for the tips to be good and so that it was. I needed some convincing, but yeah, she definitely did as well. But yeah, she came around, and now we work really well as a team now. Because we have sort of the same goal. We want to be secure financially and be able to kind of do what we want, travel and all these things that are our shared values. So she's on board now, which is really good because we can now I can make decisions. We can make decisions together, and I know that they're going to be in the right direction.
Yeah, that's just been cool to watch because when I came out of 24 years of I knew what my salary was going to be. I knew what my paycheck was going to be almost 3 years in advance, right? And commission only, that's scary. Yeah, that's really scary.
It really is, yeah. And I think, just to elaborate on that, now that we're going into, a different market than COVID for sure, where, a lot of agents now are sort of back to that state of uncertainty. And I would say that I'm not, because of the fact the culture that we've got here, is so good, and that we're well equipped to deal with sort of the supposed downturn. I'm not worried about it at all. So that's I think that's just testament to the way that we do things here. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I can't agree more with that. strength in numbers. You roll with a group of people that are going to push through brick walls for you, and the brick walls don't matter anymore.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely. Did you see a difference? I mean, because you talk about there was a small group, you guys supported each other. Have you felt a difference in the kind of support now that there's more, or is it the same amount of support? Is there more support? Is there?
You know, I think that there's the same amount. It's a little bit different now because there's sort of factions, or let's say, you know, your team, and you've got a team as well. So, but at the same time, like there's no, you know, nobody is ostracized, or like the fact that I continue to do things sort of in an independent way and like to do things on my own. You know, there's nobody saying that, yeah, I'm not going to have your back just because you're doing your own thing. So I'd say it's different, but I can rely on everybody in this company. I mean, there's nobody I would hesitate to go to, you know. So yeah, I'd say that it's a little bit different, but it's still a very strong support system.
Yeah, I think that's something for me in particular that's been big is we do have some autonomy on how we want to handle our business and the way we want to handle our business, as long as we're doing the job that we are asked to do, and kind of let us be us essentially. So
yeah, and I read this book Drive, where they talk about the results oriented. There's a Rome, results oriented. I can't remember what the acronym means, but basically, like, you know, you don't necessarily have to be here at work. And I have a home office, you know, that I actually feel like I'm more productive, especially when I'm there. The kids are at school and stuff like that. And so, but yeah, having the freedom to do that, I think, is huge for me, especially being sort of having a really kind of a crazy schedule in some ways with 3 kids and extracurricular activities, and my wife works. You know, so yeah.
Well, I'm sure you get distracted because you like to play darts a lot.
Yeah. Well, one thing I'll say is the autonomy and the driven. I've read that book as well. It's been a long time, but the fact that, you know, we had a conversation a bunch of months back, maybe a year back or whatever. We're a pretty tight group, and when someone's here, when everyone's here, we know it. When someone's not here, we also know it. And you're the one person in this company that has some really good autonomy about himself, and most everyone else loves being around the people and loves all the noise and all that stuff, and it's just not your personality, and that's okay, right? And I remember we had a conversation. I said, hey, just announce to these guys, you got 3 kids, you're going to 3 different schools, you're taking them around here, and let them know why you're not here all the time, so there's no conspiracy theories and no things going on in the background going, where's Alden? And I remember when you did that, I felt you loosen up, and I felt the team going, oh, yeah, that's great. I can still ask on Alden, even though he's not here, I can ask. And so you're probably here less than everybody, but you're still here a lot, which is fantastic, right? We all get that Alden time that we need and want for our culture. Right?
Yeah, I think the way Alden handles his business actually helps us a lot.
Yeah.
So as a team,
because we're not all the same
company, yeah, exactly. So I actually remember when you announced that, it definitely was a big, I think, like, oh yeah, I don't know, but I think that stems from the old culture of, like, that would have been a problem, and it's not here.
Yeah, like you working out.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Yep.
Yeah,
So,
and I think it's interesting because you say, you know, you want the Alden time. Well, my wife and my kids really want that too, and I want to give that to them. So like I have this mentality where, you know, I've got because going back to the personal versus professional, or the sort of the way that they're kind of blended here in a lot of ways, because, you know, your wife is here and there's 3 other married couples here. Well, you know, I don't have that. My wife is not here, so like I really like the time away from work where I can spend time with her, you know, and because if she were to come in every day, like your wife, then it would be a little bit different. But yeah, I really do.
She's looking for a job.
we've talked about it.
This is how we end up with our spouses.
But at the moment, you know, she's got her thing, and our schedules are aligned very well. But you know, that's just part of it. Is that like my time with my family is away from here for the most part. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Well, it's helped me. I mean, I do that. I leave a lot in the afternoons to do it, to go spend time with the family, and allows that autonomy. So for sure, it's not like we're not handling business. So,
right. I think that if that were the case, then it's going to be an issue.
Yeah,
you know.
absolutely.
But at this point, that, you know, things are going well. So yeah, I want to continue doing it the way I like to.
If you had to describe in a word or two or three your life now versus what it was, could you put that into words?
I'd say security, optimism, and comfort.
Cool. Comfort was the word I picked up on earlier, and that was the one that's been spooling in my head to talk about after you leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, I don't want comfort to become complacency. Like I want to still have the motivation and the desire to make things happen. And I think with this market changing too, now that's going to be the way our job changes now, is to try to generate that motivation to make things happen for people, and but always listen and be an advocate for the people rather than just trying to get the sale for the sake of doing that. And but I'm looking forward to the challenge for sure.
Awesome.
Do it. I don't know. Got any more questions for y'all? And I really appreciate the time.
Yeah.
The story, I think your story is super unique compared to the rest of the team.
Yeah.
So I love it. We've talked about it, just you and I before. So I just really appreciate it. I appreciate you coming and sharing, and I think it'll be something that's the next episode will be cool to talk about.
Yeah, it's for sure. I mean, I've watched you grow into this awesome husband, dad, co-worker, entrepreneur, all these things. It's been really fun to watch. I mean, you're probably one of the funnest people to watch here because you're so unique in your ways, and it has taught the rest of us that, not everyone's like that. It's just been great. So I'm proud of you, dude.
Thank you.
It's been good.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Alden.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Absolutely, we are.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Awesome. Before we leave, remember, like, share, subscribe. Kayla, do your thing. Put it there. So
She's back there laughing if you don't know.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.